Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us despite circumstances here in Amsterdam. We hope will be some of the intrepid voyagers will be coming in a little late this morning from different countries where the flights have been canceled. But in any case, for those of you who are brave enough to get here, thank you for coming, and I think we have some interesting program for you today. Welcome to the Smart Building Conference, and welcome to ISE 2020. We've got a lot of new things this year, and we're happy to be able to share with you this new venue here in Hotel Akura, and I can assure you the food will be better than the rye. We have not only a new venue, but we have new speakers. Some very interesting folks. I'll talk more about that in a minute. We have a new track. Tomorrow morning we'll be running a smart workplace track. And we, of course, have some new content formats that we're trying out. Things like our content workshops and our solutions showcase, which we hope will be very fruitful for you. And we'll be monitoring that very carefully. But you have the same moderator, so at least something is going to stay the same during the course of the day. The new faces, and some of you who I recognize from coming from the different previous Smart Building conferences, we're happy to welcome the new as well as our older friends. And one of the things I want to mention early on is, as part of the package of joining us here at Smart Building, you have reserved seats at the ISE opening keynote. The reason this is going to be worthwhile is our friend Duncan Wardle was the man responsible for the creative engineering departments that pulled together Disney, Pixar, and all the Disney-owned units. So this man has controlled some very, very top-class creative teams and has been at the center of a number of the cultural iconic films and productions that have come out of Disney and Disney-related companies like Pixar for the past decade. So we encourage you that at the end of the day here, we'll provide a bus if you'd like to come and listen to Mr. Wardle. We'll get you over there in an expeditious way, and we'll get you a nice seat so that you can enjoy the keynote. This year's theme is 5G, IoT, and Networks Edge. And you may have noticed in the program there isn't exactly a specific, speaker on 5G or IoT or Networks Edge, and I think it's kind of perplexed some people, but what happened, is that as we saw that these three areas of technology were interrelated, and as we saw that they were impacting the smart building business, and as we got into the different content for the different speakers, we discovered that they're more horizontal than vertical from our point of view. That is, content-wise, most of the speakers are going to have to address these in order to talk about their individual topics. So they will come up consistently throughout different presentations throughout the day, and of course we'll be concentrating on it in the panel. But it was not an accident, it was more by decision on our part that rather than spend a full session on 5G, that we would pick it up, as individual categories along the way. We have some exciting content today. I want to outline some of it so you know what sessions you might be particularly interested in. We have a couple wonderful, I would call them case studies, but they're insight into, for example, the Unisphere project in America. You'll hear more about that in a second. We have insight into the Edge Olympic, which will be very rewarding, I believe, from the point of view of how the integrations all come together and all works. We have a presentation on Smart Campus, another one on Prop Tech. We have a live demonstration of the Smart Building Dashboard, which we're looking forward to. This is the first time on stage for that. The DC-powered building. We'll be talking about digital twin. We'll be talking about autonomous building. We have some research to provide and to offer insight, and an interesting discussion about how do we get some sort of standard and certification for smart building. All of that and more will be in the sessions here along the way. The content workshops, I want to mention, this is one of the new formats we're trying. We have 4 content workshops. The system is we've asked all the delegates to pick which workshop they might want to go to, but this is a democracy, folks. You're entitled to take a look, decide which one you want to be. We're not going to hold you to that pre-decision. We just want you to know what's available and what the difference is. And we have our first workshop, which is hosted by ABB. They will be bringing their insight into creating a smarter future for homes, buildings, and mobility. So ABB has a wonderful amount of information that they're going to share on the market, on the trends, on the way they look at things and standards developing, and I think that'll be a very interesting workshop. The next workshop by my friend Ian Gordon, who's here somewhere, there you are, Ian, is hosted by KNX, and it focuses on the ultimate issue of security for smart buildings. How are we going to keep them away from the cyber attackers and from the people who would do us harm? And this is a very important subject, and it's also, I think KNX at the moment has an important anniversary. They have a few important technology shifts to talk about, so that session will include more than just cybersecurity, but it's one of the most important aspects at the moment of what we do. Another workshop is by Joan, which is part of the Visionet company, The Workplace Revolution You Should Have Started Yesterday. And this will be a discussion more focused on the inside of the building, on the workplace, and how it could be more productive, more healthy, and more attractive to the people who have to use the office buildings. The last workshop is by Verdantix, and Rodolph is still catching his plane flight because it's been canceled and that, but the format he's using is very interesting. He's going to start with the premise of, can technology make every building smarter? And the point about 80% of Europeans' buildings, are more retrofit situations than new buildings, and how do we do that, and which technologies should you invest in now, which ones will actually do something. And he's created a sort of matrix where you get to share your ideas and then match them up in small groups and then come together and have a discussion about which technologies may be more useful than others at this point. Those are the content workshops that you have the opportunity to join. Each one will be in a different location, and we'll inform you as we go along. We also have added a solutions showcase. This is a very brief, it's a less than a half an hour session where the companies who are involved as sponsors have a chance to dash up quickly and to explain some of the things they would be happy to talk to you about. One of the things we got from feedback in the previous conference was that, there were some sponsor stands, but you didn't know who they were, what they did, and you felt perhaps, a little reluctant to talk to them under that basis. So this is a way just to wave them quickly in front so you know whether or not you'd like to have a further discussion. Tomorrow, we have a keynote on the Smart Workplace track from Siemens. It'll be an introduction to everything that's going on in the future of the workplace and how that will affect the smart building industry. And the rest of the day, we'll be providing solutions in the workplace and also some very important research that will show some of the trends and some of the things that are happening there. Before I introduce our first speaker, I just wanted to spend a minute on this. I think everybody seems to have a different definition of smart building. We tend to spend a lot of time talking about what is the definition of a smart building. You know, and I'm finding it less productive, if I can put it that way. You know, I wanted to zero in on this for a minute and just say, you know, when you're sitting here in a group of people, you hear someone talk, you might turn to somebody and say, well, gee, that's a smart guy, or that's an intelligent woman. And when you do that, you know, you're recognizing, you know, that there is something that's correct, something that's moving in the right direction in that individual. Now, one person may be considered smart because they're very good with data. Another person could be considered intelligent because they have emotional intelligence. And everybody who could be considered smart might be very dumb in other ways. So part of the problem when you come to trying to nail down a very definite definition of smart building is that we are in a world where we have different generations of smart buildings. We're at different points. Some of them are smarter than others, and some of them are very smart in very specific ways, but very dumb in others. So we're probably not going to spend a lot of time trying to define smart buildings during this conference. We're going to spend more time in telling you the latest stages of development in things like autonomous buildings, you know, the digital twins, and some of the things that are going to affect everybody in general.